It's a great day at CIP. My name is Matthew Koshorik, the Director of Summer Programs and Outreach. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's Mploy Google Hangout. CIP was founded in 1984 to help students on the autism spectrum or other learning differences make successful transitions from adolescence to young adulthood. From the beginning, as students were incorporated into CIP's diverse and supportive learning environment, treating individuals with respect and dignity has been a key factor in our success. Students are actively involved in the direction of their lives, creating person-centered plans, focusing on short-term and long-term goal setting, developing self-advocacy skills, and outlining the steps necessary for personal growth. In 2009, Summer at CIP was developed for two reasons: for students to have fun and gain independence. This program works with students entering 10th grade to recent high school graduates. Between 2009 and 2011, Summer at CIP expanded to 6 summer programs. In the summer of 2012, CIP launched the Beyond High School Summer Program in Florida. This program is open to young adults who have graduated from high school to the age of 26. Between 2011 and 13, Summer at CIP has expanded to 12 programs all across the United States. Since 2009, Summer at CIP has helped hundreds of students prepare for the next steps, whether it's attending college, preparing for the workforce, or learning to live independently. This year, we are proud to launch our newest program to CIP, Mploy. Mploy is a career skills development program for young adults on the autism spectrum or other learning differences. During tonight's presentation, you will gain a better understanding of the staff working with your students, the vision and mission of Mploy, who the employers are and what your student will gain from them, overview of CIP's career program, and what your students will take away from this 10-day experience. I would like to introduce you to Michael Knoll, the Program Director at the Long Beach Center.
Welcome aboard, everyone. We're excited to launch this program here in Long Beach. We've got a number of the staff here that are going to talk to you tonight about our program and all the different employers that are going to be a part of this program. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Michael brings 8 years experience in human service combined with 12 years experience in higher education leadership and a background in training and organizational development. Michael completed his bachelor's degree at Pennsylvania State University in behavioral science. His experience in leadership and passion for education led him to complete a master's of education degree in psychoeducational process from Temple University. After earning his master's degree, Michael moved into higher education as a program director for a technical college. With a desire to apply and expand his training in psychoeducation, he moved to Florida and opened a consulting business in organizational development. He is an active member in Los Angeles Association of Training and Development. He enjoys traveling, theater, music, biking, beach volleyball, and dabbling in hitting the waves in the surfboard. Looking forward to surfing with you next time I get out there, Michael.
Come on out.
I would also like to introduce you Jennifer Kalarick, the lead Career Coordinator in the Brevard Center.
Hi, Matt. Hi, everybody.
Jennifer has worked with the college internship program since 2005 and has over 20 years experience working with teens and young adults in such capacities as Career Coordinator, Program Director, Admissions Coordinator, Undergraduate Psychology Instructor, and Researcher. Based on her dedication and tenure at CIP, she was promoted to the Lead Career Coordinator in 2013. As Lead Coordinator, Jennifer trains all the other CIP Center coordinators, providing ongoing supports and resource, develops new curriculum, and leads department meetings. In addition, she also has presented at many conferences and workshops about how to prepare young adults with Asperger's syndrome and other learning differences for success. Jennifer graduated magna cum laude from the University of Central Florida in 1993 with a BS in psychology and a minor in mathematics. She pursued graduate work in industrial organizational psychology at Michigan State University with a focus on disabilities in the workplace. I am happy also to have you meet some of the Long Beach staff that will be working with the students at the Mploy program. Thank you for joining us, Lauren, Caroline, and Jennifer.
Thank you, Matt. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Kilby, and I am the Assistant Program Director. I support students at Long Beach with their programming and any other ways that need assistance here. I also support to make sure that we're compliant with any type of state laws that we have as well in California. One success story that I really wanted to share with everyone tonight was we have a current student in our program. His name is Paul. He's been at CIP Long Beach now for 3 years, and when Paul started at CIP, he had very limited jobs training skills. But we're really happy to report that after 2 years in the program, Paul got an internship, and now he is a happy California taxpayer. He currently works at TJ Maxx, and he's been working there now as part-time for 6 months. So way to go, Paul.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, my name is Lauren Stevenson. I'm the admissions coordinator here at CIP Long Beach. I started at CIP last February as admissions staff at our national office back in Massachusetts. I came out here at the end of the summer to join the CIP team as an admissions coordinator. So I help with helping students through the admissions process, giving tours, coordinating shadow days, and interviews for incoming students. One success story that I wanted to share on a more personal level is somebody that I grew up with out in Massachusetts actually went to CIP after we finished high school for support with college and job training, and she is now employed as an assistant preschool teacher. So that was a nice personal connection to CIP before I was even an employee.
Great.
And I'm Caroline Fortuno, the career coordinator here at CIP Long Beach. I work with our students individually and in the group setting, helping them with all their job preparation skills. We help them determine their long-term career path, and we try to find them actual work experience, so either by internship, volunteer work, or through a paid job. A success story that I'd like to share is a current student by the name of Mary that we have here. She is pursuing early childhood development and wants to be a preschool teacher. So she's been working at a local preschool for about 2 years, and recently a substitute position has opened up. So she's taking all the steps necessary to try to get that position. So she's doing interview practice, filling out the application, talking to her direct supervisors. So we're hoping that we can help her finally get that paid job. And she's also working here at CIP as a student ambassador. So she's getting paid through that. She helps at a lot of our student panel events, and she helps give great tours. So we are very proud of her.
Back to you, Matt.
Thank you so much for sharing all that, Long Beach staff. Mploy has been in the works with CIP for a couple years now. With the support of multiple CIP centers participating in its development, we are finally launching our maiden voyage aboard the historic Queen Mary. The Queen Mary's creation and launch was nothing if not extraordinary, and her story is rich with history, elegance, and grandeur. From the time she was constructed in 1930 in Scotland, the Queen Mary was designed to stand in a class of her own. Despite the suffering setbacks with the Great Depression, it held the building of the ship for quite a few years. 3 years after her maiden voyage, the Queen Mary was the grandest ocean liner in the world, carrying Hollywood celebrities like Bob Hope, Clark Gable, royalties like the Duke and Dutch of Windsor, and Winston Churchill. During the time, she even set a new speed record, which held for 14 years. But with the Queen Mary docked in New York in September 1939, she kind of took a little different tour with World War II. In 1967, the Queen departed for her final cruise and arrived in Long Beach, California. She has called Southern California her home ever since, and the Queen is now a floating hotel, attraction, and event wedding venue, home of 3 world-class restaurants and an icon in Southern California, and now our new home for our CIP Mploy program. So Michael, you live right in Long Beach. How's the ship looking tonight?
The ship is beautiful as always. We're so fortunate to have the Queen Mary sort of in our backyard here at the Long Beach Center. And we thought, what a great opportunity for us to take advantage of something that's right here. You're right, Matt. It's a full-service hotel, but we're going to be using it as our residential component to the Mploy program. Our students will stay right on the Queen Mary. They'll have a roommate. They'll have a stateroom, a beautifully appointed stateroom with lots of history where many, many famous people have stayed in the past. They'll get an opportunity to tour the ship and see all of its beauty and all the things that it has to offer, and to understand the history behind it, as well as eat at some of the restaurants. Many times throughout the program of Mploy, our students will be able to eat right there on the ship, some of the restaurants that they have on the ship, as well as they've got a midship marketplace where they can buy trinkets and all those different types of things. But probably one of the most exciting things about being on the ship at this particular time is the Queen Mary sponsored an event called The Chill, and it's called Experience the Chill, actually, and it's an ice kingdom. They're featuring A Christmas Carol, which is a Charles Dickens classic, comes to life with over 2 million pounds of ice that are going to be on the ship while our students are there. So aside from being able to go out and explore all the different things that Long Beach and Southern California has to offer with a number of different events and activities right on the ship itself, they'll be able to do some ice skating, some theater shows, ice tubing. They'll have live music, holiday carolers that are coming around, and it'll just be an incredible opportunity, an incredible experience for our students, aside from getting such great content in our employer program as well. That's what's going on with the ship. Back to you, Matt.
So you and Caroline have been working full steam ahead on making amazing connections with different employers, and you have a bunch lined up. Can you share with everyone some of the connections that you guys have, and what are some of the takeaways that our students will be able to take from it?
Yeah, sure. I'll start off and talking about one of the ones that I'm really excited about. We tried to capitalize on the arts and entertainment industry here in Long Beach, because we've got all of this stuff right here sort of in our backyard, so we thought, why not take advantage of it? We've got Power 106, which is one of our radio stations that it has offered to speak to our students. On many occasions, we'll be going out to visit some of the employers, and other times the employers will be coming on the ship or coming here to our Long Beach Center, where they'll have an opportunity to talk to our students and talk to them about a number of different things. You're going to hear a little bit about the curriculum tonight, but our curriculum is going to be mixed in with the employers that we will go visit, as well as the employers that come visit our students, and the staff that we have working here at the CIP Long Beach Center. So Power 106 is one of our exciting employers. We've got Emmanuel Kanjia, or he goes as DJ EM, right?
DJ E-Man.
DJ E-Man, sorry about that. And we're excited to bring our students to a radio station where they'll get a chance to see what a radio station is all about. And you get to hear these types of things, but you don't always get to see how radio stations really operate. So our students will get that opportunity to see that, as well as talk to a really cool DJ and understand what it's like to work in that type of industry. And Caroline, can you tell us about some of the other ones?
Sure. Another employer we're working with and that we're actually going to do a tour with is Angel Stadium. So they house our local Major League Baseball team, the Anaheim Angels. Woo! And we'll be meeting with one of their human resources representatives, Erin Casil, and she'll be talking to us about some of their work opportunities and some of their programs with working with individuals with disabilities. Another program or another employer is City of Long Beach Parks and Recreation. So we will meet with a local park pool manager, Sarah Amick, and she'll also talk about some part-time opportunities working in Parks and Rec, so lifeguarding, some of the summer programs, and some of the other community positions that they have available. And then also the Hollywood Bowls. So they pretty much work with our LA Philharmonic, so they're really huge in our theater arts here in California. We will be meeting with Rosa Mazon, who is the museum assistant. She'll be guiding our tour. If we're lucky, there may be a production going on, so they'll be able to take us backstage. And then as far as volunteer and part-time opportunities and qualifications and things like that for what they're looking for, Joseph Fennick from Operations will be talking with us.
And we've also got an opportunity to bring a number of different Disney speakers in. So we've got everyone from corporate all the way out to cast members to talk to us about what it's like to work at Disneyland. Disneyland is just down the street from us here, so why not capitalize on that as well? We're still working on a number of different employers that we're bringing into the mix, and we're super excited about this program. So back to you, Matt.
I am so jealous that I'm not going to be able to come out here. My wife will be, 10 months, 11 months pregnant, so I'm not going to be able to make it out there for this amazing experience. But I wish you guys the best. You guys are putting some amazing things together, and those partnerships are so important for our students. Thank you guys for all that. I'm very excited for Jennifer, the lead career coordinator down in Brevard. She's going to explain in more depth the outline of the career curriculum. Thank you so much for joining us this evening over in warm Florida.
Very warm Florida, actually. So thanks for having me. I just want to say I've really enjoyed working with our students at the college internship program here at the Brevard Center for over 10 years now. It's really a unique experience, and it's just so wonderful to be able to make a difference. And one of the main areas where you can see that difference is when students learn how to work and keep a job and prepare for the future. So it's a great department to work in, and I'm very excited about Mploy rolling out. This is, as you've mentioned, a brand new program, and really it takes what we cover in maybe a year or more, and it boils down to the most important components and shares that with our students and the students in Mploy. And, as most of our families know, a lot of the statistics out there are not good for young adults on the spectrum, even possibly for that have learning differences, for being successful in the workplace. So what we want to do is CIP is all about changing those statistics. We don't want our students and young adults to only be 6 to 12% of them being successful holding employment. That's not good enough, and that's why our students come to CIP. And that's why they're going to go to Mploy, because they really need to learn about all of these areas, and you really can't learn too much about it. As far as one of the first things that staff will start out working on are going to be some career assessments. A lot of students might have ideas about what they want to do, but they're really not sure. And maybe they've been sitting at home for a few months, a year, 2 years. Now's the time to get them out. You really don't want them sitting at home any longer. Let's figure out what might work for them. And one of the biggest mistakes sometimes I see with families and students is that they just focus on interests. My student is really big into rocket ships, so therefore maybe they'll be an astronaut, or they're into trains and want to do something with that, or whatever it is. But interest alone is not only what you want to base a career on. So we want to look at work values, we want to look at those interests, we want to look at their personality type, what skills they're bringing to the table, of course their aptitudes. So we want to take a look at all those assessments and provide some recommended careers that they can take away and research further. Another thing, one area I start out with our current students is really talking about employer expectations. So what are employers expecting? And I think a lot of times they think about just education, college degree. But employers are expecting so much more than just education and experience. They're looking for those soft skills, and that's a new term for many of our students. They want people who can take initiative. They want people who can be good team players, and there's so many different things, and the top 10 list of what employers expect typically are not about education and experience. Resumes, references, cover letters, and LinkedIn, these are all really important topics that we're going to cover in Mploy. And besides learning about them, like Michael said, sometimes we're going to talk about that at Long Beach, and sometimes, at CIP, and sometimes they're going to go to the SHIP and learn about that, or go to employers. So they're going to be building their own resumes. If they already have a resume, they can update it, they can freshen it up, and certainly work on things like learning how to build a strong references page, cover letters, and LinkedIn site, and even getting some Photoshop, some headshots, and setting up a LinkedIn site. Job searches and interviews. This is so important. Job searches, most of our students, I think their comfort zone is, looking at what used to be back in the golden days, newspapers, and now, of course, it's looking online. But the percentage rate of success for looking at job postings that way is typically only about 4 to 10% of people get the job this way. So what we really need to emphasize to them is that face-to-face contact and networking is so important, and they are 7 to 10 times more likely to get the job if they have face-to-face network contact or networking. So just critical to talk about what are the effective ways to do job searches, not just where they're comfortable doing them and how they're comfortable doing them, but how can they get out of their comfort zone to be more successful and get the job quicker? How can they prepare for interviewing? And there's going to be some mock job interviews, and to me, that's always such a critical area for our students to not only learn about, how can they respond to the most commonly asked questions in an interview, but then put it into practice and really fine-tune how they're responding themselves. Professional communication is another key area, and I'm going to talk about that a little more as well later, but emails and texts and Facebook, and if you're late to a job, if you're going to miss a day's work, what is your boss's preferred way to communicate? Is it that they want to get a text? Is it that they want a phone call? Is it okay to call in and leave a message for a coworker, or do they need to talk to you directly? So there's all kinds of things to keep in mind with communication. And even developing emails is something I find that our students tend to need to develop further. A lot of them might be comfortable with texting. A lot of it is just very direct and to the point, and they don't add that fluff that is so important. Like, if I were emailing Michael and I said, "Hi, Michael, how are you doing? Hope all's well, with you and your family," before I'm going to go into what I'm going to ask him typically. So then you want to wrap it up as well and sign off properly. So that professional communication is so important. The Americans with Disabilities Act and disclosure. I find this is a very challenging topic. There's a lot to learn here. So, but it's important that students know, young adults know, what are their rights in the workplace? How can they disclose to employers? And they also need to practice that and role play it and get comfortable. And should they disclose in, verbally, in writing, both? And where to go with that? Performance appraisals. This is something I talk to my students about in our career skills workshops, and I'll ask, how often do you think employers do performance appraisals? How often do they conduct them? And then typically I will get maybe once a month, every other month. The longest is usually about 3 months. But as you know, most performance appraisals are only once a year. And so what that means is our students who may not always be comfortable receiving feedback or asking for feedback, if they're waiting for a year down the road and something starts going wrong on the job, they're going to lose that job before they get to that performance appraisal, and you don't want that. Obviously, some places will have like a 90-day evaluation for a probationary period, but it's really important for them to know what's expected, that a lot of times they're going to be evaluating themselves. They're going to be giving feedback to their employer about what they'd like to see, what kind of goals they should be working on. So there's a lot that they need to consider before they walk into that performance appraisal. And handling stress in the workplace. As we all know, our students, it's very difficult handling stressful situations, mainly due to challenges with emotional regulation. And as I think we all know, work can be a very stressful place. Let's face it, even for all of us who love our jobs, there are stressful days, there are stressful times, and certain tasks that can cause more anxiety than others. So it's really important that they get think about how they can handle stress in the workplace, what are some coping strategies, how can they be their best on a daily basis. And I have to say it starts simply with if they have been prescribed medication, are they taking it regularly? Are they getting a good night's sleep? And for all those parents who are listening, you probably know they might not be if they're staying up late and gaming and whatnot. So there's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of it boils down to maintaining good health. And then lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about social thinking in the workplace, which is a very important Mploy topic as well that we're going to talk about. And I just wanted to let you know that all of these curriculum pieces, all this information is going to go into a really great binder that each Mploy participant is going to receive, and that they can take home with them, and they can continue working on keeping that resume up to date, keeping that LinkedIn site up to date, referring back to how to do a good job search and all those things we talked about in interviewing. So keep that in mind, and that this is 10 days, but it's just the start of something that they're going to move forward with, which is really exciting to me. So social thinking in the workplace. This is about how do other people perceive what you're doing, what you're saying, and how you think about others, how they're thinking about you. So social thinking is such a key aspect of a part of our program at College Internship Program. It's used in every department. We might have a social thinking coordinator, but it's all of our staff who are on a daily basis talking to our students about social thinking. And when you just said that, or when you just had that body language, how is somebody going to receive that? What are they going to think about you? So in terms of social thinking applications in the workplace, you got to know your audience, okay? So when is it a good time and when is it not a good time to maybe tell a joke or say something? When is somebody going to think something funny? And what a young adult or a student says to their peers might be funny, and then if they say it to a coworker or a boss, might not be funny at all. So I love this cartoon that says, somebody sent me a funny email and I thought it was hilarious, so I forwarded a copy to my boss. I didn't know it was one of his memos. So it kind of reminds me of like Sheldon and Big Bang Theory, and you know, he might say these things and he thinks it's hysterical, but the audience might not think so on the other end. So you have to know your audience. And I have one student who, you know, at his internship, he was making cracks about older people. There was one gentleman he worked with who was 90 years old, which is amazing and wonderful. But that individual didn't think it was so funny, and neither did the coworkers about, you know, jokes about being older. So you have to know your audience, definitely. Another part of this social thinking in the workplace curriculum that we will present to the Mploy students and participants. This is just an excerpt from what they would learn about. But the second topic is expressing disagreement and handling misunderstandings gracefully. So we all need to express disagreement in the workplace. People do want to know what can we do to improve, what went wrong, things like that. But you need to be able to express that disagreement gracefully. And if somebody gives you feedback, you need to be able to accept that, hopefully, as well. So staff meetings is certainly one area where this comes into play a lot in the workplace. So as you can see from the cartoon, it says, say it isn't so, you've got to be kidding, perish the thought, heaven forbid, and no, no, 1,000 times no. Okay, so don't go about it that way. You just might not get the response you're looking for. Next, like I talked about a little bit, is that communication. It's so important. How you write those emails, how you write those texts, what you're posting on your Facebook. Other people are going to see it, and I can't tell you how many times, and I know you all are with me on this, that you see somebody's Facebook site and you're thinking, why would somebody post that? Their coworkers are going to see that. Their boss might eventually see it. It's not going to look good. So it's just really important to talk about this and how others might perceive them. I have one student who he would pick up the phone and tell his parents, or he would just text them and say, I want peanut butter. Okay, you know, hi Mom and Dad, how are you doing? Oh, I miss you so much. Hey, I love that peanut butter back home. Can you send it to me? I can't find it anywhere here. Okay, you got to throw some fluff in that communication. So in this cartoon, we have employable due to stupid personal stuff I put on my Facebook page. Me too. And for me, it was an embarrassing YouTube video. So let's just not even go there. But we need to talk about it with our young adults, and definitely talk about putting their settings to private, which I definitely discuss this in our career workshops. And I've even surprised them with this topic and pulled up their Facebook sites and not told them I'm going to do this, just to test out whether they're actually private or not. So, and the ones who were not set to private, by the very next day, they amazingly were. So it's good to know that they're paying attention. The rumor mill. Okay, so we all know the rumor mill at work, right? You say something to somebody and it suddenly is all around the workplace. I think many people believe that if I just tell one person in confidence, and I told them I don't want you to tell anyone else, this is confidential, that they're not going to pass it on. But we know by human nature that people do. And so what you really need to understand is that what you're sharing with even one person is likely to be shared with the entire workplace. Sometimes that's not the case when you share something confidentially with your boss. But outside of that, anything's kind of fair game to be passed around the workplace, even if you ask somebody to respect what you're telling confidentially. Giving and receiving feedback, we talked about those employee performance appraisals a little bit, and I love this cartoon. According to the anonymous online employee survey, you don't trust management. What's up with that? It's great because even though a survey might be anonymous, of course, you know, if you ask enough demographical questions, you might be able to figure out who responded however. But giving that feedback and receiving that feedback and learning how to do that in ways that others will perceive you in a positive light, so important. And then the last little topic I wanted to talk about for social thinking in the workplace, just for today at least, is hidden rules. This is so important. With hidden rules, these are all those things that people don't really tell you. They're not written down. They're not saying, don't do this, don't do this. They just expect you to know this. And this is, of course, where many adults on the spectrum run into difficulties. So regarding dress, maybe it's acceptable to dress a certain way, but it's not written down in the policy for the workplace. TMI, too much information. So nobody says, well, most of the time they don't say, don't mention all of these different things, and you need to keep your private life and your private life and your work life separate most of the time as much as possible. So a lot of times our students might share way too much information. Chain of command, this again is not something oftentimes that's covered, where you need to go to your immediate boss, then you could take it up the chain of command if you don't get a response, and then again. A lot of times their students might go straight to the top because they say, why not just cut out the middleman, right? Why should I waste my time? I'm going to go right to the very top. And of course that can get you in trouble every time with your immediate supervisor because they end up feeling like they have mud on their face, and you never want to do that to a supervisor. So lastly, I just wanted to remind everybody to make sure you're typing in your questions, because at the very end we will go ahead and answer whatever questions you have about Mploy, about how you can prepare your students moving forward. And I want to end with, make sure your students, your young adults, are getting as much experience as they can. At whatever point in their life they are now, start getting experience. Don't have them wait, even if they're going to Mploy. Have them start volunteering now, interning now, even if they can't get that paid job yet. It is, every day counts. So have them start helping out somewhere in the community so they can start practicing their job skills more. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Oh, we got questions. They're flying in. Or I guess it would have been more appropriate if it was on a tugboat, but they're coming in, so keep the questions coming. We'll get them to them at the end. So outside of all the amazing modules focusing on careers, there is also a big social and independent piece. So we're telling students to step outside your comfort zone and meet new friends. Some of the Long Beach staff were able to share one of their success stories. I just want to share one of our summer program stories. It's it's a little different, a little bit older students, but with our high school summer program, that small amount of time, 10, 12 days, there was these 8 group of students, and they called themselves the Dream Team. They were kind of connecting with each other throughout the 2 weeks, and their relationships kind of developed, into this really strong, amazing bond. On the second to last day of the program, a few of the students were crying at Six Flags. I'm like, it's Six Flags, more flags, more fun, let's have fun. And they're, kind of like down, and I go over to one of the students, I'm like, hey, what's going on? It's like, let Nathan take care of it. He's handling it right now. So I step back, assess the situation, and they're just super sad that they're leaving each other. So I follow up with all of the summer students at the end of just like a transitional service, and I was connecting with a few families of the Dream Team. And multiple families were starting to tell me that they created this Facebook group and they connect with each other every single day. In this Dream Team that they have, this group chat, they have students from all over the world: Jordan, California, Massachusetts, New York City, Michigan. It's just amazing that in that short amount of time they were able to get this bond and kind of take it to the next level where they're going to be friends for life. So the biggest thing, in these small programs, students leave more confident for the next stages of their lives. They're taught independent living skills such as time management, organization, and how to navigate having a roommate. Each student will be budgeted $300, so $300 will be given back to the student to work on money management throughout the 2 weeks. We'll break it down and budget it for those specific activities. So there's lots of fun time outside of all these modules to have different fun activities. Long Beach, can you share any of the other fun activities outside of the ship or on the ship that you would like to share with the listeners today?
Yeah, Matt, it's not about all work. There's a little bit of play that comes along with the Mploy program. Because it's in Long Beach, we've just around the Queen Mary itself, we've got a marina there that has filled with all kinds of different activities that our students can participate in. We've got the Aquarium of the Pacific, which is just over the water from where the Queen Mary is. They do local whale watching excursions. We have some studio tours set up that we're going to be able to go up to Hollywood area and Los Angeles area and check out some of the studios where some of our TV shows and movies and those kinds of things are filmed. We've got the Griffith Observatory, which is way on top of a mountain that gives you beautiful views of all of downtown Los Angeles, as well as the famous Hollywood sign and some of our iconic areas out here in Los Angeles. So it's a destination opportunity. It really is. It's a great opportunity if you haven't been to Southern California to come on out here and experience what we have to offer here. It's also a great way to gain some career readiness skills, as well as work with all these wonderful staff here at our CIP location. So, Lauren, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Southern California is great. I moved all the way out here 3,000 miles and have no regrets. So I can speak to that on a personal level. You know, some of the things that our summer programs have done in the past are things that we would be able to probably offer to our Mploy students as well.
Great.
You know, they do some of that small scale bowling, movies type stuff like that. We've got some museums, the Dog Beach, Pike Place, got a lot of really great shopping. Knoxbury Farm is also not too far away. I think it's the oldest amusement park in the U.S., I'm pretty sure. And we have Catalina Island as well. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on out here that we've offered to our students. So we're hoping that you can join us for that.
Back to you, Matt.
Thank you so much, guys. So now we're going to answer some of the questions that have been submitted tonight. If I don't have a chance to get to them, you can connect me directly. But we have a question for Jennifer Koleric. So Jennifer, what is the #1 skill or attribute for young adults with learning differences that will help them gain employment?
Okay, I think that's a great question. And I think about it on two levels. So the question was, what skill will help them to gain employment? If I'm thinking about it pretty literally, in terms of gaining employment, I think about the impression that they're going to make to the employers. And the impression starts when they are sending in that resume, sending in the cover letter, and then hopefully if they get past that stage, when they are getting to the job interview. So really working on that resume, making sure it's as strong as possible, making sure that other people are proofing it, that has great visual impact, that they have a strong cover letter, and that they're practicing that interviewing over and over and over. And there are some really great ways to do that, certainly one-on-one. There's tons of questions out there online that they know they can practice. So that's kind of how they can present themselves in the best possible light, hopefully, to get the job. In terms of actually keeping the job once you get it, now that can get even tougher. So I think what employers really are looking for are two things that stick out, and I know there's tons, but you're making me choose one, and I'm going between critical thinking and taking initiative. And the reason I go with taking initiative is because we send out these supervisor feedback forms. about twice a term for our students doing internships and jobs to give feedback on how they're doing, because of course we talked about how important that is. And we're asking, are they being dependable? Are they being punctual? Are they communicating well? Are they taking initiative? How is their dress and hygiene? You name it. So that we can find out, and they can find out, what is the true social thinking? What does their boss really think about how they're doing? Taking initiative is one of the areas that our students are most often marked as needs improvement. Not above average, not average, but needs improvement. So to me, that means it's a skill our students are lacking, whether they have learning differences or they're on the spectrum. And it's something that is valued so much that employers want them to work on it. So initiative, and then I'm going to say critical thinking, because we all know we're going to make mistakes in the workplace. Things are going to happen we don't anticipate or we don't realize, and we make a mistake. But you've got to learn how to think critically in the situation, problem solve, and fix whatever just happened. So I think if students work on that, if our young adults work on those areas, they will be good to go.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt.
So we have another question that came in. Is Mploy only in Long Beach? So we are piloting this program in the Long Beach, January 3rd to the 13th. It was a beautiful destination for our program. Warm weather, away from the snow in the Northeast. So right now it is the only program in Long Beach. So if interested in this program, I would recommend applying sooner rather than later. I know we have an application deadline coming up, but we do anticipate this program to fill, and we already have more than half our applications in already. Just to kind of get a feel of where the students are coming from, there's a few students that have applied from California, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York City. So students are really coming from all over, which is great to see. So if we weren't able to get to any of your questions tonight, please feel free to contact me anytime at 877-566-9CIP, 877. Sorry, I had to. For those of you that have signed up for the event tonight, we will be sending you an application waiver. So this will waive the $100 application fee until November 30th. So we'll send it out right after this. You'll get it. If you're interested, download the application, send it in, but it has to be in before November 30th. On behalf of CIP, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Matt.
Good night.